Great. So I'll start with a round of introductions about myself. I'm Monica and I lead the customer education initiatives here at Rocketlane. And as part of our learning initiatives, we've recently released the webinar series that you're a part of. So our aim is to get in touch with you bi-weekly to bring Rocketlane more closer to you in terms of usage, understanding best practices, and just letting you be more confident in using and adopting Rocketlane features for your business. So that's quickly why we are here and what we aim to do. With that note, I won't keep you for long. I will get started on today's topic. So it's about time to value. And I think it's not a term that's alien to us as customers. When we pay for a product like a phone or a headphone and start using it, we just can't wait to realize the worth of the product that we just bought, be it a phone or anything for that matter. The same applies when you are a vendor also. So if you're a vendor who's selling a product and wanting customers to love it and stick to you for longer periods of time, it's really important to get that time to value accelerated. And the shorter the time to value, the great the customer experience is going to be, because you are making them realize the value of your service or product in a very short period of time. So that's everything we are going to talk about today. How Rocketane lets you measure time to value, how it lets you use automations to kind of close all the gaps that you have in your processes and in the way customers perceive you and realize time to value with your services or products. So that's everything we're going to discuss today. And first, it's about measuring time to value, right? So we have a process to do that, where we let you capture all the dates of the important milestones that you complete throughout the course of your projects and see how early or delayed these milestones are getting completed. That's one. And the other is finding out how long it takes for you to let your customers realize the time to value of your services. So to do that, you need to measure the duration between anything. For example, in our industry, maybe after a kickoff ends, you can start measuring your time to value and take it to a point where your go live happens. So the entire duration between when your kickoff is ending and your go live is ending will be your time to value for your customers. So Rocketlane automatically lets you measure all of this using its native key events and intervals feature. Next is bringing customers on board with you and automatically sending out emails and project updates to them to hold them accountable for everything that's assigned to them, and letting them collaborate with you and take you closer to achieving those milestones together. And then we have internal escalation matrices that you can set up. So for any project to achieve greatness or have a good time to value, it's really important for you to achieve your milestones on time. And if you see something is not going right, or if it's getting delayed or overdue, the need to involve the right stakeholders at the right time is really important. And that's what escalation matrix does to you. It makes sure that any task is not getting escalated by your customer, so that you find out that internally it's approaching overdue or it's getting overdue, and you act on it before a customer can see it and raise it with you. So that's setting up escalation matrix with Rocketlane. And finally, the factors that you think can be risks to your projects and how they contribute to analyzing the health of your projects. So if you see that your project is green, everything is great in paradise. But if it's anything but green, like amber or red, it definitely means that it needs your intervention for you to achieve the time to value that you benchmarked or you wanted for your customers. So these are the four main things we're going to talk about today, where our training path looks like this. We're going to set up key events and intervals, and we are going to see that's measuring time to value. But how do you accelerate time to value? That's where automatic project updates comes into play. Internal escalation matrix comes into play, where you involve the right stakeholders at the right time to not get things escalated and affect the health of your project. And finally, the factors that you think are risks to your projects and how they determine the health of your projects, so that if you see that something is not right, you intervene at the right time and get things to to the shore. So that's basically our training path today. And I know so far it's been theoretical, but we're going to get practical and see how this is getting done. So let's get started and dive into Rocketland. First is measuring time to value. That's what we're going to see first. And as I already mentioned, we have this feature called key events and intervals that you can set up and let Rocketlane measure these dates for you. So, key events are basically dates where important things happen in your project. Those things can be the start of your kickoff, end of your kickoff, start of your go live, end of your go live, start of user assisted testing, UAT, or anything be it. You determine what your key event is going to be and set it up in Rocketlane. And since you plan it beforehand while you're doing the project planning itself, the plan date will be captured. And while you are actually working on the project, the actual date will be captured. So Rocketlane lets you measure the plan date and the actual date and see if your milestones are getting done on time or getting delayed. That's what key events are. And as I already told you, the duration between two key events can be your time to value. That is, the interval between two key events can be your time to value. Here, we are measuring time to value as kickoff end to go live end. The entire duration between these two key events in your project can be your time to value. But for you, it can be something else as well. From the start of the project to end of the project, or from the solutioning phase to the go live phase, it can be anything. This is just an example that we are giving you, using which you can measure intervals. So again, from the project plan, we calculate the plan duration, and as you start working on the project, the actual duration gets captured. So this is how it looks like. Next, we are going to see how to set this up. So as an administrator, you can navigate to your avatar, select settings, and just scroll down to the advanced section where you will find this feature called key events and intervals. As I already mentioned, you determine what your key events are going to be. Right now, I've set up only two key events, but you can set up as many as you want depending upon the milestone dates that you're going to capture. So here, the name of the key event I've set up as kickoff end. I've given it a description that is easy for me to understand. And then these are additional things that we let you do. For example, if you are changing the status of this particular key event, which we will be seeing in a few minutes, from anything or in progress to completed multiple times, you are checking this box to just capture the first time you're making this change for that key event in terms of status change. Next is, even after the date is captured, there is something that you need to add or edit. You are allowing admins and project owners to edit it by checking this box. These are just additional things that you can understand and set up as you create your key event. So I've set up the key event name, I've defined the key event, and I'm saving it. Like this, you can create as many key events as you want, but I've created one other key event, which is going to be my go live event. So I've created two key events here mainly because I want to measure the interval between these two key events, which I think is going to be my time to value. So here I've defined my time to value as the duration or the interval between my first key event, which is the date my kickoff ends, and my last key event, which is the date which my go live ends. So I've defined my key events and intervals here, but how do you automate the capturing of these dates? That's what you do in your templates itself. So we are templatizing the entire capturing of key events and intervals by doing it under templates. So as an admin, again, you can go to templates, select project templates, select the templates that you use for your projects, and start setting up your key events. So here to your right, you can see that key events is a section that's already available to you. Here, for example, you can add the last task that's part of your kickoff phase where you want to capture the date, or you can add the entire phase duration. Let's say this kickoff and readiness phase needs to be completed, and that date will be my kickoff end date. So you define which is going to be the kickoff end date, and you set up the key events accordingly. Here, you can set it up for the last task of the key of the entire phase or the entire phase itself. So let me set up the key event for this phase where I say when the entire phase changes status from anything to completed by you. So whoever is doing this phase, if they change the status from anything to completed, the key event kickoff end is going to get captured. And you can also toggle on this option to measure the deviation between planned dates. So if there are any deviation from the planned dates, for example, this is a template where you set off the key event and you use it in a project. So based on the duration that you have here, the project will give the planned date of this key event. And then you go ahead and complete this particular key event at a later date. So you will know the planned date and the actual date, and the system will tell you if you're finishing it early or if you're delaying it. So that's basically what this means, the deviation from planned dates mean. And you can save the capturing of dates for the key event. So we've done it for kickoff end. Next, let's do it for go live end. So for go live end, I will do it for the last task of my go live, where I will click on the task, go to key events on the right hand side, and set up the key event right here. So I've already set it up, and this is how it looks like. So when I mark the status of the last task in the go live as anything to complete it, the key event go end is going to get captured and the date will get populated. And as I already mentioned, to me, the interval between these two key events is time to value, and the plan duration will already be calculated from this template that I'm using to create my project, and the actual date will be actual time to value duration will be calculated when I mark go live end as completed. So this is how you set it up, but how does it look inside a project? So let me go to a project that used this particular template. So this is a project where I used this template. I will show you the template name here also. So I've used simple onboarding template. And here you can see under overview, there is a section called key events where you can see the plan dates. So these plan dates come from the template that I used to create this project. Since I already defined the key events, kickoff end and go live end, the dates that were planned for these events is populated here. So let me go back and change the dates here. And this is where if I say completed, it means that my go live is also completed. So I've changed the dates here. If I go to overview, you can see that my go live end was completed 27 days early, and my time to value is also getting updated. So that's how easily you can capture the key events and update the delays or the early completion of your milestones. So that's basically how you do it for one project. But if you want to do it for multiple projects, we also have a method to do that. So go to, we also have a method to track that. So you will be setting this up for multiple projects where you're measuring time to value and other durations. So go to your dashboards and reports, select reports, select interval IQ report. This is available to you if you're using key events and intervals. And here you can see the trend at which your key time to value is evolving. For example, over a period of 1 year, you can see for Q3, Q4, Q1 how your time to value is trending. For example, here you can see that this particular kickoff end to soft go live has taken me 11 days, whereas the planned duration was only 17 days. So I've completed my time to value way early. And if you see that this trend is repeating again and again, where you're completing your time, the time to value early, you can accordingly benchmark the number of days it will take for you to complete the entire project from kickoff to go live. So this is also a way for you to benchmark and understand if you are overestimating or underestimating the performance of your team and the duration it takes to complete your projects. So this is about intervals. Even for key events, we have graphs that say, hey, this particular key event was delayed, or if it was completed early, and so on. So for example, you can see that the kickoff, yeah, the go live happened earlier than planned, and the soft go live happened on time, and so on. So all of these insights are available to you as charts. But if you also want to understand the interval of any key event you set up, you can come to the analyze section and add the key events here, and it'll give you the duration over quarterly, monthly, or weekly. So the trends can be analyzed between any two key events that you set up as well. So all of these are possible to you under reports. So this entire process of setting up key events, automating the capturing of dates, and measuring its values under reports is all possible. And this is how you measure your time to value. So that's how we measure time to value. But how do we go about decreasing our time to value? That's what we're going to see next. So first thing that I told you was sending out project updates to customers. So there are many types of customers, right? Some are extremely excited, they want to onboard you, so they're all there for the onboarding. But some may ghost you for a while, or forget that that an onboarding is taking place, or park it for a while. So for those customers, you can send out an email, use humor as a mechanism, and let them know, hey, we are waiting for you. It'll be amazing if you can join us, and just checking in to see if everything is well at your end. So all of those can be sent as emails, and it can be templatized and sent as well. And the others are bi-weekly or weekly status reports that you send. So this is how it looks like, and this is how it looks like in the customer's mailbox when they receive an update from you. But how you set it up is something that we will see next. So as an admin, you can go to templates. So as I already mentioned, these updates can be templatized and just plugged into your projects and sent to your customers. So we let you templatize project updates as well. So go to templates, select project update templates, and you can create a new project update template from scratch. So here, give it a name and start adding these blocks into your update template. So here, if you want to add a summary of whatever has happened so far, you can add it. If you want to let your customers know about the tasks that are blocked on them or on you, you can do that as well. So here, all you need to do is choose the tasks that are blocked and add it into your template. So you can be really empathetic and let your customers know, hey, these tasks are blocked because we're waiting all this information from you, and it'll be amazing if we can get on a call and do this together, and so on. So all of those things can be done on a template level, and you can also auto publish this to your customers. So if you enable auto publish this, Rocketlane lets you publish it on a schedule. So it can be on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, and it can be sent on the day of your choice and the time of your choice. And you needn't even do this for all projects. You can do it for only certain projects with conditions, maybe a project name that contains acne or something of that sort, or ARR that is only above 500 MRR, something like that, ARR that's greater than 5,000, and so on. So all of this can be done and auto published as well. This is a way of automating your entire project updates that you are going to send your customers. But if you want to do it inside a project, we also allow you to do it. So you can go to any project inside your account, go to project updates tab, and create a new update. So you can create a new update, and we will give you all the templates that you already created, which you can plug and play, or you can create a blank template from scratch. So you can just click on a template to add it, make changes to it if you want to, add all the members that need to receive this email, and customize it to your preference, add anything in writing, and click send. So after you send this, anything that the customer replies to you from their mailbox comes into this chat window. So all of those conversations will be available to you in the chat window, and whatever reply you send them here will be available to them through email. So it'll be emailed to them, and from their email they can reply to you. It will be part of your conversation section here. So everything is under one roof for you to track as well. So this is a great way for you to engage customers who have left you for a while, engage customers who have tasks assigned to them, and hold them accountable, and just make sure that you are achieving milestones together with your customers. So that's about project updates that you can send. Next is escalation matrix. So Rocketlane has, I mean, most of the things that you have, like say, receiving notifications, the key events that we saw now, are all native automations that we have. However, automations, we release automations itself as a feature for you to consume, and for it to be flexible enough for you to use it to your use cases. So we divided it into two types. One is global automation, and the other is template level automation. When it comes to global automation, we let you set up automations that can be run on all projects, all tasks, all phases, and all forms, irrespective of which project or which customer it is targeting. Next is template level automations. So, with respect to template level automations, let's say you have templates for your enterprise customers, for mid market customers, SMB customers separately. You can choose to automate certain things for your enterprise customers that use the enterprise template, certain things for your mid market customers who use mid market template, and so on. So the template level automation lets you automate all the actions only to a certain bucket of customers. So that's template level automations. So that's the only difference between global and template level automations. And the escalation matrix that we're going to see today is something that we are going to set up for global globally for all customers, and you can choose to set it up for only certain customers by adding conditions like, hey, run this only if projects that have ARR of 5000 and more can have this, or do this only for project name that says that has Acme, or project name that has customer name as Marvel or something like that. So to set up the global automations or set up an escalation matrix globally for all projects, go to admin, I mean, go to your avatar as an admin, click on settings, and scroll down to the advanced section where you can find automations. So here we've simplified it even further for you by giving escalation matrix as a playbook for you. So if you click on it, you are already given a skeleton on top of which you can build. So this is the skeleton that we've given you, where for any automation to work, it needs to have a trigger that will kickstart the automation, and then conditions that the automation needs to satisfy to run, and the action that it needs to perform. So here conditions are obviously optional, you can have them or not have them, but a trigger and action is important for an automation to run. Here we are doing this automation on all tasks that are part of all projects. So whenever any task part of any project becomes overdue, and you are free to determine how many days, by overdue by how many days. So here, let's say if a task is becoming overdue by 5 days, and your customer might notice after 10 days, and you want to take precautionary actions, you can put the overdue date as 5 days or 3 days, or whichever you think is feasible for you, and set up the action as notifying the project owner. So if it's just overdue by 5 days, you're first going to notify the project owner, which is the first level of your escalation matrix. And you can also add a message and use our smart fills feature, of course. So smart fills is a feature that lets you pull data from the actual task or project that this particular escalation matrix is run on, or this particular automation is run on. So instead of searching and sending project name or task name, you're just filling it up using smart fills, where the actual task or project name gets pulled and populated here. That's what we've done. We've added the task name, and we're saying, hey, take a look at this, it might become a risk later. So that's what we're doing. And under conditions, right now we've just added overdue by 5 days, but you can also add another condition where you say type of this task is milestone. So you can run this only for tasks that are milestone tasks. So if you do that, all the tasks that are milestone tasks that are overdue by 5 days will have this notification sent to project owner, letting them know that their intervention is needed. Next is 7 days. That's how you keep building your escalation matrix, where if it's 7 days and if the condition is the type of task is milestone, you are setting up an action to notify the customer success. So here I'm adding the placeholder as customer success, but whoever is the customer success for that project will get notified by this. And finally, if it's overdue by 14 days, you can even notify the CEO of the company, and you can just directly go ahead and add their name and notify them. So here we are bringing in the right stakeholders to be notified whenever a task becomes overdue. So it can be of type milestone, or you can say this task name contains UAT, or any condition. So we let you play around with conditions as flexibly as you want to, and you just notify someone either through email or through Slack if you already integrated Slack, and so on. So if they're from a different if they're in a different app, you can also use HTTPS requests to send them notifications. So basically anything is possible. You just need to have a skeleton like the one that you're seeing here to set up this automation and run it, and be proactively approaching any overdues that are causing project delays, or that will affect the time to value of your projects for your customers. This is how you set up an escalation matrix. Don't forget to save it, because if that's not done, the entire list that you did will get lost. So that's about escalation matrix. Finally, we're going to talk about the project health. So here it's going to be a step by step process. So I'm going to get you started on what is a risk, what is project health. So all of these are going to be a project fields. So risks can happen from many things, right? So a project can be at risk depending upon multiple factors. In our session today, we are going to consider three factors. One is if a milestone task is postponed, meaning the due date of a milestone task is moved by 4 or 5 days. Next is if a CSAT that is received on a milestone task is lower than 4, and then if a milestone task becomes overdue for more than 5 days or 7 days, then that also can be a risk. So all of these are things that we think will be risks to the health of the project. And finally, we are going to say, hey, this project health is green if it has risk as 0. This project health is amber if its risk is, let's say, above 5, and the project is on red alert if the risk exceeds 10. This is an outline of how we are going to see risks and project health and how they go hand in hand. So first, we need to determine these risks and project health as fields for your under your project fields. So as an administrator, again, go to your avatar, go to settings, select project fields, and first set up these fields. So here you can see that I've set up riskometer as a field, and this is exactly how it looks like. So I've added the name as riskometer. I've selected the type as number. Let me create a new one and show you. So the type is number, so that whenever something happens, I'm going to keep increasing the number of the risk factor, I mean the risk meter. So it's going to be a number field, add a description that suits you and save the field. So that's what you see here. Next is the project health indicator. So as I already mentioned, red, yellow and green are already really familiar for us. Green means safe, amber means something is not great, red means something is alerting you on, things that are not going right. So based on that, we created this field called project health, that is a single choice field, meaning uh, let's say the project health is going great, the choice is going to be green. If it's not great, it's amber. If it's bad, it's red. So select the field type as single choice and add the choices here. You can also color code it to your preference and save it. So now that we've set up these project fields, next let's see how to use these in our automations. So again, under advanced settings, you can go to automations, set up these automations. First, let's see for tasks that are postponed, how you can calculate risk meter. Firstly, you determine where this rule is going to be run. So it's going to be run on all tasks that have a due date that is getting postponed. So the trigger is going to be all tasks. The rule is going to be run on all tasks, and the trigger you can choose from the list of triggers that we have. So this trigger is pre given for you, which is due date change, so you're going to select that. And next is conditions. This is really important because you're going to determine after how many days, if a milestone task is postponed, should you consider it as a risk. So here the due date is postponed by exactly 4 days is what I've given. It can change from customer to customer, so you can put whatever you think will be a risk for you and add the number of days here. And we are doing it for milestone tasks, but if you think it needs to be done for any other task with any other name or any other type, or any other project, you can add it as a condition here and save it. Finally, you can notify someone about this, and the important thing is to update the riskometer. So here the action is something that you can choose from here. So the action here is to update a project field. So select project actions, and here select update project fields. So when you select that, you will be asked to choose which project field to update. So here we are going to choose riskometer as the project field that we just created, and you're going to update it with the value as 1. So you're going to add on to the value, and I am adding 1, but if you think a due date getting postponed is of great importance, you can even add value as 2, meaning the meter will keep increasing as you keep adding values here. So I'm just adding it as 1 here, and that's what you see here. So this is one of the risk factors that we just captured. Ensure to save the entire automation so that you can, come back and make edits to it whenever you want to. Next is CSAT. So CSAT is really important because it's a timely check on how you are progressing with your project. So where in Rocketlane, if a milestone task is completed by you, automatically a CSAT will be sent to customers. And based on the CSAT that they submit, you can calculate the risk of the project as well. Again, this is going to be run on all tasks. And the trigger is something that you can choose from the task triggers that we have, where CSAT submitted is a trigger. And then under the action block, you can determine what will the automation has to satisfy to run. So here we are saying if the rating that the customer has given you is less than 4 out of 5, then that can be considered as a risk. So again, you can notify someone, and under actions, you can do again. We are going to update a project field, right? So it's going to be project actions. Under project actions, you're going to update project fields, and the project field that we're going to update is risk meter, and we are going to add values to it. So for me, CSAT is really important. So if someone is messing, I mean, is not giving you the right CSAT, means they're really unhappy and they want you to intervene. So the value can be 2 or 3. So you can increase the risk meter by value 2 or 3, whichever you think is right. So that's one way of calculating risk and increasing the values of your riskometer in Rocketlane using automations. Finally, we are going to also consider the overdue tasks that are especially of type milestone as a risk factor. Again, the same formula. You can basically do this as well. You can duplicate a particular automation and start editing it. So that's what I did when I set it up as well. And let's see this. So overdue is what we were seeing right now. Yeah. So it's going to be on all tasks. The trigger is something that you can choose from here, and task becomes overdue is a trigger that's already available to you. So choose that and set up the conditions. Here, we are saying if a task is overdue by 7 days and if it's of type milestone, then you not only notify someone but also increase or add value to the riskometer that you've set up. So let's say someone is giving you a bad CSAT in a project, and in the same project a task is many milestone tasks are postponed, and many milestone tasks are becoming overdue. The riskometer will keep increasing 1 plus 2 plus 3 and so on. So it will reach a value that's not manageable anymore, and your project health status will change. That's what we're going to see next. But adding value to riskometer means this. So you do that, and you can also say, hey, if it's overdue by 7 days, increase it by value 1. But if it's overdue by 9 days, you increase the value by 3, because it's of utmost risk and it should reflect on the project health. So this is how you set it up. It's the same framework, just that you're using different triggers and conditions to say, hey, these are the factors that I think are risky, and this should affect my project health. Save it. And the important thing here is to finally set up your project health using riskometer. That's what we're going to see next. And this is a project rule, because it's going to be run on all projects, determining the health of all projects. So ensure that this trigger is run on all projects, where you are setting up the trigger as field is updated. So riskometer is a project field. So if a project field riskometer is updated meaning if the value is added to 1, and from 1 to 3, if it's updated from 3 to 5, all of these are updated. So if the trigger should be if riskometer is updated, and the condition is if it increases anything more than 0 and it is greater than 2 and less than 4, it means your project health needs to change. So if it's anything less than 2, right, meaning if it's 1 or 0, it means that the project health can be green. But if it's greater than 2 and less than 4, meaning if it's 2, 3, it means that it can't be green and it needs to be amber. So that's the action that we are doing. So what we did was we are doing this rule for all projects. The trigger is going to be field is updated because riskometer is a project field, and whatever we set up previously is going to increase the riskometer if the things are not going well. And under conditions, we are saying if the riskometer value is increased by more, it's a condition. And further drilling down on the condition, if the riskometer is greater than 2 and is less than 4, meaning if it falls between anything 2 or 3, it means you're going to do an action of updating your project health. So again, the action here is updating your project health. Project health is a project field. So the action is going to be project action, and update project field is going to be the exact action that you're going to be doing. And when you select this, the system will ask you which field you want to update. And since we set up project health as a project field, you can add that project field here and add the value as amber. So if you say escometer is anything from less than 4 but greater than 2, it's going to be amber. So that's what we set up here as well. You can see it here. So we've determined what denotes a project health as amber now. Next is what determines if a project is on red alert. That is the next action block that you can add. So one thing that I would like to say is you can duplicate an action block and start editing it. So that's what I've done here as well. I've duplicated it and I've added edits to it. So here you can see that the condition is riskometer value is increased more than 0, and the condition I wanted to have is where riskometer is greater than 4. So if it exceeds 4, it means that my project is on red alert, and that's the condition it needs to satisfy for this action to happen. Where the project health, if it's already on amber, I want to replace amber by red. So here, what I've done is I've specified my project fields for risks and health. I've used those two fields in my entire automations to understand these are the factors that are going to cause risks to my projects, and based on these risks, this is how my project health is going to be. So that's the entire process that we went through. I know this can be fast for you since it's a live webinar, but this is going to be recorded and I will be sending you the recordings, so you can always go back and look at all the things that we did to understand how you can set up your risk meter and also the project health, and use it to intervene at the right time, and have the right people involved, get the right people involved to ensure that you are proactively doing things on the project before it's escalated by your customers, so that your time to value is not tampered. So this is one of the last things I wanted to cover in today's meetings, in today's webinar, to let you know that hey, this is how we measure TTV, but there are also ways in Rocketlane using which you can accelerate your TTV and measure your project health and ensure that you stay on top of things. So that takes us to the end of today's webinar. Thank you so much, everyone, once again for joining. See you in the next webinar. Thank you.